It's currently 2 in the morning for some reason, and I am just now filming this video. What's up, buttercups? Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here today. We have some pretty cool standalone quick romance novels that I just absolutely loved and flew through. I got 5 pretty awesome ones for you today, so without further ado, let's get into them. Grab your coffee. Today I have a super uber sweet iced coffee because I needed something super sweet to complement these super sweet romances that we're going to be going over today. So the first book that I have is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is following pediatric nurse Macy Sorensen. She is currently engaged and is planning her wedding. One day she goes to get some coffee before work and she runs into her first love, Elliot, and he's super shocked to see her and he's like, hey, let's catch up, and they start chatting it up, reconnecting. It just kind of gets everything muddled. She has to choose between her current life the way it is right now, or if she wants to try to make a new life where Elliot's in that life. This does go from present to past, and you fall in love with their dynamic because they just love reading books, and I love that about them. They're so cute. It does have some smut in there, like 2 to 3 scenes, but I would say on like a scale of 10, I've read some pretty smutty books. It's about a 7. The one thing that I didn't like about this book is whenever they were talking, they're texting back and forth, it was very borderline cheating. Like, the whole time I was like, are they just gonna like tell their significant others what's going on? Because she wouldn't even tell her fiance at the time, and neither would he, that they were going to go have meetups and stuff. And I just know personally that if that was me in a situation, that's cheating, you know? So that kind of pissed me off the whole time. I was like, y'all are basically cheating, filthy, like, don't do that. But besides that, I did like the ending. The wording, the way the book was written, it was so good. Highly recommend. I flew through this in about a 24-hour period, so definitely check this book out. The next book that I have is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena. This is following Catalina, who needs a date to her sister's wedding. She has lied to her family that she has this American super hot boyfriend that she's gonna bring with her because her ex and his new fiance are going to be attending her sister's wedding as well. And they were like, oh, you know, Catalina, don't feel bad that you're gonna be single and alone, and he's got his new fiance, just don't even worry about it. And so she was like, no, I have a super hot American boyfriend coming with me. They were like, oh, really? And so that white lie just went super crazy, and the whole family is now super hyped about this. So she's kind of freaking out because the wedding's approaching. I believe it's like 4 weeks away when you first start the story. And she's talking to her coworker. She's like, what am I gonna do? I don't have anybody to go with me. I can't just hire a random fake boyfriend to come with me. I think I'm just gonna have to come clean to my family. How embarrassing. And while she's talking to her coworker about this, her other coworker, who she absolutely despises, Aaron, hears this, and he surprisingly offers. He's like, I'll pretend to be your date and this boyfriend that you're talking about. She's like, no. As the time draws near, she's like, I don't have any other options. What am I gonna do? So she goes to Aaron. They make a deal because he ends up needing a date to a charity function. So she ends up going with him, and then he ends up going to Spain with her. And it's an enemies to lovers. This like draws it out really good. I was smiling throughout the entire thing. It was super cute. It did have some smut in it. It was, I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, about an 8.5. It did have fake dating in it. I read this one in probably, I'd say about a 48-hour period. It was so good. I love this book. I actually read this one on Kindle, but I wanted the physical copy, so I ordered it. This one for me was a 5-star read, so definitely pick this up. Okay, so the next book that I have is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This book is following Olive, who is attending her sister's wedding, and her sister has this extravagant seafood buffet that everybody's just oogling over, and they're eating at this buffet except for Olive because she's not really into buffets like that. Everybody ends up getting all sick and severe food poisoning, so her sister and her new husband can't go and enjoy their prepaid honeymoon that she had won in a lottery, and she doesn't want it to go to waste. And so she's like, hey Olive, why don't you go ahead and go in place of me and just pretend to be me? She ends up saying yes to her sister. Well, she finds out that her enemy that she absolutely hates, which is her sister's husband's brother, who was the best man at the wedding, who also did not eat at the buffet and did not get sick, is going to be pretending to be the husband. So they have to come to terms and not hate each other for this vacation and pretend to be her sister and her new husband. They get there, her boss ends up showing up, and so it's not only that she has to pretend in front of the resort, she has her new boss that she's going to be starting a job with whenever she gets back from this vacation, who's also there on his actual honeymoon. So she's like freaking out. They have to actually, like the whole time, pretend to be fake dating, go on these little fun activities together. And it's just so cute. It also has a plot twist at the end, but it's a very good plot twist. So definitely read this. Again, enemies to lovers, fake dating. This does have, I wouldn't even call it smut. It has some intense love scenes, but it's a fade to black. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 smut rating, it's definitely a 2. It's super cute, and I just absolutely love this book. Look at how beautiful it is. I mean, that's gorgeous. That's so pretty. This is a great book. Christina Lauren, she's a great author. Pick this one up. The third book that I have is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book is following Emma, who is married to her high school sweetheart, Jesse. He and her live in California. He is a National Geographic video photographer. He goes and shoots those cool animal documentaries that you see on like Netflix and stuff. He goes on an excursion, like a job, to go and shoot one of those videos, and they take it by helicopter, and it's just him. He ends up having a helicopter crash, and they could never find the body, but they pronounce him dead. So she's freaking out, she's super heartbroken, and she ends up moving back to Massachusetts to be with her family. She ends up running into her old co-worker she used to work at her parents' bookstore with in high school. His name is Sam, but she runs into him at a music shop one day, and they end up catching up. Next thing you know, they hit it off real good. They end up getting engaged. She and him are at dinner with her parents, and she gets a phone call from a California number, and she's like, oh, I never get phone calls from California area codes. Let me just go ahead and answer it. So she answers it, and what do you know? It's Jesse saying, I'm not dead, I'm coming back. And she's just absolutely torn between, do I go back to my original husband or do I stay with my new fiance? This whole time that I was reading this book, I kept putting myself in Emma's situation, and I was so torn. What would I do in this situation? My husband that I love so much, like, just went off and he died, and then I mourned him, and then a few years later I get a phone call, he's alive, and I'm already in love with somebody else, about to marry them. I mean, of course you're like, I love my husband, but I love this guy too, like, you know, what do I do? So this whole time I was so torn. I kept rooting for Jesse so hard, but then I also kept rooting for Sam, and I didn't know who to pick at the very end, and my heart was just all messed up about this. But I love this book so much. It's not a super happy, feel-good, cheesy romance like the other ones that I've recommended in this video, but this was one that I thought about it for a long time afterwards, and even though it didn't make me feel happy, sunshine, rainbows, it definitely made me feel some type of way, which is the best books. Even whenever, you know, a book makes you feel some type of way and you think about it for a few days afterwards, that's a good book. So I put this in the romance category because it is romance, even though it's a little bit deeper of a romance. It was so good. I was very happy with the ending. I think that it ended the way it should have ended. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you because that would spoil it. The smut rating on this one was a 3 out of 10. It was fade to black, so not bad. It was definitely a little bit more wordsy than the Unhoneymooners was, so that's why I gave it a little bit of a higher rating, but it's still fade to black, so do with that what you will. But definitely, this was a great book. Pick it up. Okay. Last but not least, oh my god, I love this book. This is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This book, it was so good, it was so cute. It's following Liz, who is a hopeless romantic in high school. She is having prom soon and she has no date. So she's hoping that she can get a date. She's not sure who's gonna take her, who she wants to ask her out. When all of a sudden her childhood one crush that used to live across the street and she used to play with as kids returns from Texas. His name is Michael, and she is just absolutely swimming with him. He's like big, blonde, sexy country is what she described him as, and she just absolutely swimming with him. He's got like an accent and everything. She is just, her heart is set on him taking her to prom. She's gonna figure out a way for him to go to prom with her. But the problem is that they don't have any classes together. No way that she can have an excuse to get to talking to him more. Whenever all of a sudden her nemesis, Wes, who actually is her neighbor as well, lives right across the street, shows up while they're in the hallway and her and Michael are talking, reuniting for the first time. Wes shows up and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Michael? I can't wait to go to that party with you tonight." And she's like, party? What do you mean? So she ends up after school going over to Wes's house and being like, "Hey, I'll make you a deal. I will give you the forever parking spot," which they always fight over. It's like this big deal. But she's like, "I'll give you this parking spot if you help me get into this party and help me get Michael to take me to prom." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, if I get the spot, sure, I'll help you get Michael to take you to prom." And that's all I'm gonna say about that. It is such a different book because it has a lot of romance movie references. If you've seen The Ugly Truth, it is that, but it's more PG and it is not obviously with adults, it's with teenagers in high school. But it's definitely Ugly Truth vibes with like makeover and enemies to lovers. Also, she's not only a hopeless romantic, but she likes to reference music. So there's a lot of new age references, songs that were just created. So I thought that was super cool. Just a really cool book overall. I was smiling stupid goofy throughout this whole thing. 5 out of 5. You know what? No, scratch that. This is a 6 out of 5 read. If you don't pick up any of these books, pick this one up. This one. This is the one you need to get. It is so good. Like, I literally could not rave over this book more. It was so cute. I loved it. It was so good. I literally have no complaints about this book. Even though you know the enemies to lovers is coming, you're just rooting for it so hard. Just pick this book up. It's so good. Well, that is all my recommendations for today. Thank you for watching my video again. If you stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. I will definitely be back soon with some more recommendations. So if you like this video and you want me to do more romance recommendations, definitely let me know. And I will see you later. Like I keep saying,